Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Johnnie Torch Live. Coming to you live from Stately Torch Manor once again. Hopefully, this broadcast we're going to be much more able to communicate. I'm sounding like I'm having problems communicating already, but the sound quality hasn't been very good in the past two broadcasts. I don't know how to really to fix that. Got to look into some software maybe that will improve the situation. But anyhow, here we are again. And happy to be back once again for a live stream of Johnnie Torch Live. I really should have a Torch News Roundup up right now, but I've been spending all afternoon working on this, trying to get this up and working. So that is going to have to wait until probably tomorrow. But I intend to have a Torch News Roundup up this week, hopefully by tomorrow. Not sure. It's already been recorded, but it hasn't been edited, which is also, that's always the chore, the editing process. That's why I like to try to get up and do some live streams to, try to get some conversation going without having to take, it takes me about 3 hours between recording and editing, you know. Of course, I already have the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review up, so that is pretty much where I focused all my energy this past week. I saw the film on Tuesday and got the review up as soon as possible afterwards. So check that out if you haven't already, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. Uh, to try to make a brief recap of what I thought. Not as good as the first movie. I don't know. I don't really think it was as funny as the first movie. Some of the humor was a little more vulgar for my taste. It's kind of par for the course, I guess. But uh, the story was a lot darker than the first one was, and really a lot darker than most of what films have to offer. Civil War was kind of dark, and this was almost the same thing, where the protagonist. Well, spoiler alert: its mother is the focal point of the conflict. Spoiler alert over. I'm not going to get into any spoilers there, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it's the weakest of the Marvel films up to now. Uh, that's just my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people don't like Thor: The Dark World. I love that film. A lot of people don't like Iron Man 2. And while I probably would have put it lower on my list at a time, watching it again, I think it's really an underrated film. It's not perfect. It's not a masterpiece, but the Iron Man 2, yeah, is actually pretty solid. So I don't know. I should put a ranking video together of all of them, but the problem is I don't want to give too much information and I don't want to give too little information, because on the one hand, I would like to do some, well, not in-depth reviews, but some significant reviewing in these films, and it's hard to do that and also have something to say during the ranking video. So I don't know if I should skimp on the review part and just put all my thoughts in a ranking video, or if I should just, I don't know, maybe just do single reviews for each and every one of them. That will take a long time. That will be a lot more work. Eh, well, if you have any input on that decision, let me know. Should I do a ranking video for the MCU, or should I just take them one at a time and review them one at a time? Let me know what you think in the comments. I've got the chat room open here, but it looks like there is nobody here. I'm all dressed up and nowhere to go. Want to give a shout out to King of Thunder. I was on his live stream earlier today on in the chat room. Uh, I had to leave before the end of his show, but he has a great channel, great show. So you definitely need to check out King of Thunder. He has a lot of great reviews of comics, also animation and stuff. Just great stuff. You got to listen to him. King of Thunder. Check him out. Well, what are we going to talk about this week? As usual, we are going to take a look at the comic book TV shows of the past week. We also usually talk WWE, Maybe we should get the WWE stuff in first because I honestly didn't see a lot of WWE this week. Um, I literally fell asleep during Raw. It was probably one of the most boring Raws I've seen in a long time. SmackDown, I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy while it was on, so I didn't really. I seen most of it, and I left before it was over. I don't really think I missed much, but I probably couldn't tell you what happened on SmackDown this week either. So not a lot about WWE this week. If you have anything that you want to talk about for WWE, bring it up in the comments here in the chat room, and I'll see if I remember it. If I didn't sleep through it, a little sip of water there. Okay, so let's see. WWE. Was there anything else I could think of that happened WWE? Oh well, there was the tag team elimination match in Raw. That was between, let's see, Cesaro and Sheamus won again. And my boys Enzo and Cass, they were eliminated very early on. They were eliminated first, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's right. So my boys once again getting the shaft by the McMahons. Let's see who else was in there. I thought maybe at the very end they would give the Golden Truth a shot there, a shot at the title, but unfortunately the Golden Truth came up short. Uh, Breezango is still going strong in SmackDown. They beat the Ascension. I remember seeing that. So it shows a big difference about how the Raw treats their underdogs and the way SmackDown does. Of course, we haven't talked about this in the past couple of weeks, but uh, Jinder Mahal and his new reign of terror that he is wreaking on SmackDown Live. Jinder Mahal. What do you think about Jinder Mahal? Hmm. I don't really have a problem with Jinder Mahal. I mean, a lot of people don't think that he's, ready for prime time, so to speak. But they seem to be crafting a pretty good story around him. He's got the Bollywood boys, the Bollywood trio there. Counting him as his enforcers there. I don't know. I say we give him a shot and see how this works out. Randy Orton still has the title, so apparently, I guess Jinder's going after him. Of course, we also have what's been going on in the women's division. Uh, Nia Jax is trying to ally herself with Alexa Bliss. That should be interesting going forward. I think that's an interesting idea. So yeah, it's Braun Strowman I think has been injured, so we're not going to see the Strowman Reigns feud continue on too much in the near future. I didn't see what his injury was, but I saw something on Twitter about his being injured. So that's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. Uh, so, all right, we are going to try once again, or at least I'm going to try once again to try to screen share something. Let me see if I can do it before I get into. I believe it worked. So the first thing we're going to talk about here on our look back at the comic book shows of this week is the Riverdale finale. Yes, Riverdale is finished for the season, completo. And there's quite a lot of stuff that was resolved and quite a lot of new cliffhangers that they're going to leave us with. So far, let's see. We had. Oh, gee, where do we begin? Jughead's leaving Riverdale. Apparently, I don't remember what town he went to, but social services are after my boy Jug. Social services are hounding the lad, so to speak. And, well, I don't understand why they're bothering him now that he's living with Fred and Archie, seeing as how the kid was living in a basement of a movie. Well, no, he was living in the projection booth, I think, of the movie theater, wasn't he? All of a sudden, they're they're coming after him. But he seemed to fit in well with those guys. I don't know, those guys at the new school. Let's see what else is going on there. We had Cheryl losing her mind, of course. Cheryl losing her mind, and uh, I guess attempting to commit suicide. Archie coming to the rescue. Probably Archie's finest moment this season because he really hasn't had many, to be honest. To take nothing away from AJ Appa, is that his name? AJ Appa. He's done a serviceable job as Archie this season, I think, but they really haven't given him much to work with at all. In comparison to the other actors, anyway, the other characters, they've you know gotten the choice roles, I think, this season. So Cheryl and Archie comes to the rescue, busts up his hand. Apparently, the actor busted up his hand in real life doing that scene, which makes me wonder how much of that blood was real. Gosh, was that nasty? A lot of blood, huh? A lot of blood just from getting a broken hand, I guess, on the ice. And of course, Cheryl was saved, and she ended up burning down the house, as talking heads would describe it. And so, we're going to see how that turns out next season. Cheryl's just a little bit unusual, maybe just a little. I don't know. I don't really dig her character, to be totally honest. I don't know. I mean, they sort of set her up as being, the mean girl and whatever. Uh, what they do with her going forward, I don't know. I don't really know what they're gonna do. So we have also Archie singing with the Pussycats. Archie was an honorary Pussycat there for a minute, it looked like. I really wish they would get the Archies together, but then that would mean, less angst, I guess, because. But then again, being in a band, I guess there's more angst than anything, so they probably will do that at some point. Uh, Betty, I don't know. I guess they're setting up maybe the Archie and Betty. There's still something going there with them too, the feelings of unrequited love, so to speak. And of course, we have also uh, at the end of the episode, Jughead getting an invite to become a Southside Serpent, or whatever they call those. Is that what they call it? Yeah. And so now Jug's going to be a bad boy. Betty looks like she completely lost interest already, just seeing him put on the leather jacket. So I think that signals the beginning of the end for Bughead, as the shippers have proclaimed them. I think Betty's going to be trying to get back with Archie next season, and of course we have Archie with Veronica. So get ready for more angst next season. Lots of stuff going on there. We got the Betty's mom dropped the bomb about she has a brother, an older brother. In the comics, Betty had an older brother, Chick, I think was his name. Wasn't it Chick? Oh, Chick. What kept you? But yeah, so I don't know where they're gonna go with that. For a minute there, when they said she had a brother, I was thinking Jughead. Is it Jughead? But even they probably wouldn't go there at this point. I don't know. You never can tell. You can never tell with Riverdale. But yeah, this is the season finale. They have been renewed for another season for next year. So how are they going to top this season? I don't know. It's been a crazy season, a crazy mixed up season. We had the big finale here, of course, with spoiler alert. If you didn't see the episode, you're probably spoiled by now. But Fred Andrews getting shot in Pop Tate's. So the question over the hiatus is going to be who shot Fred Andrews? Hmm. I'd imagine it has something to do with Hiram Lodge. They're setting him up to be the emperor of this show. He's pulling all the strings, and it's kind of sad the way they've treated these characters. I say that every week, but I don't have to talk about it anymore. I don't have to talk about it anymore now because the season is over. All right, so if you have any thoughts to share on Riverdale, let me know. And we will move on. Topic. Let's see. Let's take a look at Gotham. Gotham this week. What happened to Gotham? All right, so Ed really came into his own here now this week. He's basically the Riddler. Now, he's calling himself the Riddler. He's wearing the suit. He doesn't have the question marks on the suit, though. That's the only thing they need to add. Maybe that doesn't happen until Batman shows up. He's inspired to put question marks on a suit then? We'll find out. They don't have Penguin really with any of his accoutrements yet either. I mean, Penguin, he's not carrying umbrellas. I thought that was going to be the simplest thing to give him, the umbrellas. And they haven't given him that. I don't know why. He should be carrying an umbrella. In the comics, he always carried an umbrella because his mother made him. His mother made him carry an umbrella because she was afraid he was going to get pneumonia in the rain or whatever. And they had him with that close relationship with his mother in this show, but they never thought to do that. And of course, it started with his whole character started with being Fish Mooney's umbrella boy, and they they dropped any pretense of him holding an umbrella. I mean, he stuck an umbrella down Gallivant's throat, I think, and that was like really out of left field. I don't know what that was supposed to significance to it. I don't know. I don't really remember. But anyhow, so and also, if we're talking about costumes too, Ivy is a fully formed character now on the show. When do we get to see the leaf leotard on Ivy? You gotta put her in that leaf leotard. We haven't really seen that since Uma Thurman and Batman and Robin, but Ivy hasn't been used very much in live action at all. So yeah, I would like to see that. And of course, we got Mr. Freeze back, Firefly back, Mr. Freeze, of course. I love the look of Mr. Freeze. I wish he was blue, really, because I think that would be. I can't. For some reason, I don't see a Mr. Freeze not being blue. I don't know why. Mr. Freeze has got to be blue. But the rest of his look is great. I mean, he's got the eyes and that crazy hair. Not too many Mr. Freeze incarnations have had hair. So it was an interesting choice that they decided to go with Mr. Freeze with hair. So, when Firefly's back, I'm not that crazy about Firefly, but if Penguin is trying to assemble an army of freaks, this should be interesting to close out the season. I guess we've got, is it 2 episodes left or 3? I forget right now. It's kind of sad that Jim Gordon is sort of the least interesting character on the show. I try to struggle every week with trying to think of what to say positive about Jim. I can't remember anything he did this week. What did he do? Uh, I don't know. Most of the interesting stuff came from the Bruce clone, that storyline, so that was pretty interesting. Uh, Alfred apparently is, unless he's joshing, Alfred still is in the dark about the Bruce clone. That's the hazards of live broadcasting. We have a throat irritation. Okay, so the Bruce clone obviously wants to get with Selina, and Selina's having none of it. That was a pretty good scene. But had to grab some more water. Okay. That was a pretty good scene where Selena sort of lets him have it, and just like, I guess she just is a heartless person after all. Maybe she was, we thought she was just playing games maybe with Bruce, but with the Bruce clone, she's even more vicious. And of course, it looks like they're going to do the same Batman Returns origin for Selena. What is she? 16 years old now, and she's actually got her first of her 9 lives lost. That's interesting. So that's pretty much it on Gotham this week. That was kind of an interesting episode. The Court of Owls stuff also is ramping up. Jim is fully, yeah, that was Jim's part. He's fully entrenched in the Court of Owls now, and so we'll see how it goes from there. I don't remember how many more weeks we have with Gotham. I think it's 2 more weeks before the season finale, or the season finale is in 2 weeks. All right, we're going to move on now to our next exciting, thrilling this week, Supergirl. Oh yes, we're getting close to the end of the season for Supergirl. I think another show with 2 weeks to go. It was a pretty good episode, kind of a filler episode. Kara wasn't even really the focus here, but at least there was no Maggie Sawyer, so that's a win in of itself. The storyline mostly focused on James as the Guardian, and I've liked James as the Guardian this season. I think that's the best thing they could have done for him, to give him that role, because he wasn't like boyfriend material. I didn't really see her winding up with him, and this gives him something to do instead of being like the poor man's Jimmy Olsen, where he doesn't even feel like Jimmy Olsen. He's like Jimmy Olsen in name only. So you make him the Guardian, you give him something to do. I thought it was a positive thing for the character this season. I'm glad, because I mean I like the actor. It's just that the first season I didn't feel he was like necessary at all. They could have just wrote him out and nobody would have missed him. And here it does feel like he's doing something proactive. And his his storyline here with the kid, the little kid, the little alien kid, it felt like it was out of some kind of like 80s B movie or something, Children of the Corn type stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Of course the kid wasn't really no monster, but I don't think they really ever fully explained why him and his that race just sort of gets set off and becomes crazy or something. I don't know. Maybe I missed something, but it was an interesting premise, and I don't know. I dug it. I'm not too crazy about the Lena and Rhea subplot. I guess her name is Rhea. I always mispronounce it every week. Uh, I don't really see that Rhea, if I'm saying her name correctly. I don't really see that she could be this clever. You know what I mean? It's like it took, you know, Mon El like 13 or 14 weeks before he started acclimating to human culture. And now all of a sudden we've got Rhea coming down and acting like, a normal businesswoman. I don't know. I just don't buy it. They probably could have done something different with that. I think that would have, been more believable anyway. But it is what it is, I suppose. Uh, Now the Daxamite invasion is about set to occur. My biggest fear is they're going to make General Zod a Daxamite, and that would just drive me crazy. General Zod is a Kryptonian; he should not be made a Daxamite. But we hear that he's going to be in the season finale. I don't know if he's in just the last episode or in the last couple episodes, but that would really tick me off. They got to make him a Kryptonian. So if he shows up in the season finale, he's got to be a Kryptonian. Also, another thing I didn't understand about this episode was Mon-El was threatening to shoot his mother just before Mother's Day. That's a great thing to see. Just before Mother's Day, a week before Mother's Day. But but seriously, what are the Daxamite powers on Earth? We haven't really seen Mon-El do much of anything. So I don't really, they've kind of wasted his character this season. I mean, he started out with promise. Now he's just like baking cookies and stuff like that. I mean, I thought he was going to be a hero in training. I thought that was going to be sort of the thing, seeing Kara as a mentor. They just have been using him as a boyfriend, for that storyline. They're not really doing anything with him proactively as a superhero. And I don't know what his powers are. Apparently, Daxamites can be shot. I thought they were comparable to Kryptonians. I thought that they, have power, strength, and stuff. Maybe not like heat vision and stuff like that, but I thought they had, comparable powers. Uh, but anyhow, yeah, Supergirl, not a bad episode. I was pretty happy with it. We will go on now to, let's take a look. Have Arrow. Let's go to Arrow next. All right. This episode was another one that was sort of like a setup for the future, the finale. You could see the dominoes pretty much being set up so that they could fall next week. There's some good scenes in this one, though. I thought this one was pretty good. They had an old-fashioned death trap. I love those. The old-fashioned death trap where Dig and Ollie were in that, uh, I don't know, the basement or something, and then the concrete starts pouring in. Not the most exciting of resolutions to that. Black Canary and Curtis, I think, just managed to save them. But that was fun. That was exciting. The return of Samson, Cody Rhodes, of course, aka Stardust, formerly known as Stardust. Uh, I liked seeing him again. I like him, but I would like if they actually did something with his character. Every time he shows up, it's just like, he's just sort of like the muscle, and he goes in there and does a few, fisticuffs, and then that's it. They could have done something a little bit more, I would hope, with him, with that character, instead of just like sort of showing him up and having him show up and just throw hands and then he's captured. It's, I don't know, not the most compelling villain appearance on the show. So Thea's back. Finally, Thea's back. I've been waiting for her to return. They pretty much just wrote her out of the show this season. She had the what was it called? Heroes versus Aliens. She had a significant part to do with that, but that was about it. We haven't heard much from her this season. So hopefully now that they Oliver gave her the well, what is it? Not a tape, but the recording of Robert's last words to her. This is supposedly going to, spur her on to become Speedy again. I think for next season or for the season finale. Yeah, I don't think they're going to kill off Thea because I think Guggenheim already said that's like one of the few unspoken rules they have is they're not going to kill off Thea. Let's see. We also have the whole storyline there we've got with Robert this week, where he clearly accidentally killed that guy in the cement factory or whatever that was. It The storyline kind of fell flat to me because clearly it was an accident. But we already know that Robert had no compunction in killing the guy on the life raft, the only other survivor there, and he just shot him in cold blood. So we kind of knew already that Robert was sort of cold and didn't have any, you know, qualms about self-preservation. So really didn't, you know, it really didn't change anything. It wasn't a game changer finding out about that. I was kind of against the whole Mayor Queen storyline at the beginning of the season, but it worked out pretty well. I mean, it's a pretty good, cover for him. And finally, of course, he finally put on the hood once again. It's about time. I've been waiting for that for a long time because, he needed a pep talk from Felicity, so we had to wait for that to come around before he could put the suit back on. But, you know, I love seeing Green Arrow in action. I mean, it's just great when he's actually in a full costume. And of course, we had the flashbacks. They're going to be coming to an end. We saw Anatoly again. I always liked Anatoly, so it's always great to see him when he shows up. I'm surprised that he was so involved in Oliver's plot there to go back to the island and everything. Most of us just took it that he would wind up on the island and just be like living like a caveman. But he's gonna. That's where I had to draw the line. He's gonna have a fake beard and wig and stuff that Anatoly gave him. I mean, come on, dude. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. They should have just let him grow it out, like for do like a 6 months time jump or something before the first flashback of the first episode, to make it look more believable. But they're going to have, he's got like 24 hours to deal with Konstantin Kovar now because, of course, Dolph Lundgren is back and he is going to probably get killed in this upcoming finale. I don't know. I mean, I was hoping maybe they'd bring him back for next season as one of the big bads, like a recurring villain. I don't think it's going to happen. He's probably going to get killed by the end of the season. Um, Dinah looked great. Oh gosh, when are they going to put her in the Black Canary suit? That's what bugs me. She needs to be in that Black Canary suit. I'm getting a bad feeling that what she's wearing is her Black Canary costume. They already gave her the mask. They kind of, I guess, gave her some blonde streaks. They're not. I don't know if they didn't. Do you know they're not going to give her the fishnets? That's what we're all waiting for. And it's never going to happen. But it doesn't look like they're even going to give her a costume. She's just going to keep wearing like a leather jacket and jeans. I don't know. That's pretty disappointing to me. But we'll see. Maybe next season they'll actually go through with a full costume. They're waiting for next season to unveil it. Maybe I don't know. Then we got the thing with Renee starting up some pointless drama about not wanting to show up to the hearing about his daughter, and they kind of set it up that you think maybe he just didn't show, but apparently now Chase's associates have kidnapped him. Chase now orchestrating things from behind closed doors, behind jail bars, so to speak, even though he's in like a plastic prison. Uh, I don't know, kind of cliche at this point, where he's giving himself up that it was like a lot of crap. It wasn't on the level. So I don't know. The season has been going pretty good so far. It's been better than last season, probably better than the season before that. But we'll see how it closes out. I don't know. I have high hopes that they'll be able to, you know, close out the season positively. All right, let's move on now to what is our next what is our next exciting episode we are going to discuss. Now this is where screen share is going to give me trouble. They don't want to change the image. All right, here we go. All right, we have the Flash. That's right. We haven't talked about the Flash yet. Let's see, the Flash. This was a fun little diversion as we go into the home stretch here. Uh, Amnesia episodes are always fun. I always love them. I'm actually in the middle of writing an Amnesia episode right now for my Bullets Bourbon series. I don't know when I'm going to be able to finish that, though, because I'm working so hard on this new episode that's come out now, this new issue that's been out now. And we'll talk about that some more before the show's over. But this was an Amnesia episode. Um, I don't know. I really liked this episode, but it kind of seemed worth it to leave Barry with amnesia for a few weeks. No? I mean, Iris is supposed to die in like 2 weeks, and why don't they just wait the 2 weeks? Wait it out. But again, see, it's the horns of the dilemma and all that. The city needs a Flash, and, Kid Flash doesn't have his powers, and Jay, the real Jay, is in the Phantom Zone there. What is it? The Speed Force. And, I guess they still had Jesse Quick, but, they already pretty much explained that she's taking care of Earth 3, which she really belongs on Earth 2, because who's taking care of the crime on Earth 2? I guess Harry. He can handle it himself, I guess. I don't know. I kind of have a hard time seeing Harry taking care of it by himself, but all right. And we've seen Killer Frost is was orchestrating or brokering a deal, so to speak, to get Savitar's memory back. I don't know how they're going to get Caitlin back at the end of the season. I'm guessing it probably has something to do with Julian getting killed. I don't really want to see that because we've already had Ronnie die in the first season, and then the second season she was in love with Phony J, and which was Hunter Zolomon. And so for like 3 seasons in a row to have her, falling in love with a guy that ends up getting killed, I don't know. I don't know if they'll play that card again. They probably shouldn't, really. Uh, and so I think I said this last week, but I'm pretty sure they're going to write HR out at the end of the season. And I think Tracy is the reason why, because it seems like apparently, and they showed it more so in this episode that, there's a connection between them two. And he's probably going to go off with her either back to the 18th Earth or because it was, I don't know, when you see the future, in the previous episode where Flash went to the future, they didn't show Tracy, but they showed HR being a writer and like he's, successful author and stuff. So if I don't know, if things are unaltered, that would be what happens, but we know things are going to change. I'm a sucker for an evil twin concept here, and so I love the idea that Savitar is a Barry remnant. But the only thing is I can understand it's convoluted as heck because now if I can follow this right, Barry made a remnant of himself to beat Savitar, and then remnant Barry goes back and becomes Savitar. It's a mind bender, but a lot of this stuff on the Flash usually is. So I mean, whatever. It's a comic book show. I mean, you just got to let it go. You got to deal. And also, we saw Heatmonger, which I don't know. I think he was on the show before. I don't know. He looks familiar, the actor, but he's pretty much doing Heatwave's gimmick. He's a poser. I don't know. Mick would probably say he's a poser. But sort of like Cody Rhodes in the Arrow episode this week, he really didn't, make much of an impact. He was just there to be the villain of the week, so to speak. All right, so that is going to be winding down as well. And let's see, next up we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're going to have their season finale next week. No 2-hour season finale, though. That's disappointing. I really enjoy the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have done 2-hour season finales because none of the CW shows ever do that. So this was good. This was the aftermath of everybody coming out of the framework. Uh, there was some really cool banter between May and Coulson. That's the old school stuff that I like from them. I mean, I don't really want them to push this lovey-dovey thing that, there's some Coulson May shippers out there, I guess, but that don't really interest me. I mean, if it came about organically, maybe it's been more funny because, Coulson's been like getting close to the May android. So that's what's made it interesting. But I mean, now that the real May is back, I don't know. I don't see it. But the red shirts kind of saved the day here, but most of them got killed off because they are red shirts. Uh, and of course, we have Ada, kidnapping Fitz. And this is an interesting development. Now, this is the part that pretty much is the best part of when they do these robots trying to become human storylines, because now she has to deal with being human. And of course, there's like this flood of emotions and everything, and she's not able to control. And it's more than what she wanted. It's more than what she asked for. So this is some really cool themes here. But the problem is we've got one episode left, and I really wish they would have focused on that during the season. They should have made this happen a lot sooner, because we had like I don't know, probably 8 or 9 useless episodes in the midpoint of the season of the bigoted senator and the like redneck wild dogs or whatever they were called, mad dogs. Wild dog I think is on Arrow. But they should have been focusing on that instead of giving us some like disposable stuff so early on. And of course we had the Russian guy with the 30,000 android bodies, kind of interesting. uh, we got to see Talbot again. That was pretty cool. I'm a big Hulk fan, so I always love to see Talbot. I wish we could see Talbot in a Hulk movie, or at least see Talbot in a movie with the Hulk in it. I mean, if they're only gonna put Hulk in guest starring, roles in these movies like Avengers and Thor, and you know, bring some more of his cast back. Bring in Talbot. Bring in Ross. Bring in Betty. They're. Oh, I gotta make a rant about that. I've been wanting to make a rant about that for I don't know how long. So instead of going off on a rant now, I should save it. But man, all right. So Yo-Yo went back into the framework for Mac. Now that kind of makes sense. I don't think Mac is going to stay in the framework, but I guess it makes sense that somebody's gonna have to go back for him, and Yo-Yo would be the one. Since there's a little thing going on between them, a little thing. I didn't like that either, really, at the beginning of the season. It just didn't seem like Yo-Yo's character. I mean, she was brought up as sort of like a guerrilla warrior, and then all of a sudden now she's like girly girl, and flirting, and in the first, I mean, in the last season we seen her in, she was like practically a nun, and now it's like, you know, they threw off all pretense of her character from last season. It's just crazy. But I mean, if you just want to, have short-term memory and not remember the way she was last season, then it's been fine. Ghost Rider's back. He's come back through the portal there at the very end. He was taking care of business, and now he's going to help out in the final episode next week. That'll be fun. I would like Ada to, or she's calling herself Ophelia now, I guess. I would like Ada to be held over maybe for next season. I originally wanted her to turn good at some point. Because she's kind of like the Jocasta of the MCU, kind of, not really. But, so I kind of would like to see her turn good, but she's like gone nuts now. You could tell she's gone nuts, and so I don't see that happening. I don't know. The big question is, does Ada dream of electronic sheep? Hmm. Surprised nobody asked that yet. But yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., great episode this week. And of course, it has been saved from the Canceller's Axe, which is something I was going to be talking about in my Torch News Roundup that I should be working on right now while I'm doing this show. But I do not disappoint my fans. Both of them. Okay, let's see. What else do we got here? Did I cover all the shows this week? I think I did. A lot of shows now getting canceled. This is May, of course, so the canceling season. If any of your shows were canceled, let me know. What do you think? Which ones do you want to come back? Timeless, I think, has been spared the axe at the last moment. They reversed their decision. Well, of course, we already heard Powerless. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. It was pulled from the lineup. Now it is officially canceled. So Alan Tudyk has got to go find something else to do. Uh, Jessica Hudgens, I mean, Vanessa Hudgens has to find something else to do, I guess. I like the show. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it was a masterpiece of comedy or whatever. They had like two or three good episodes that, showed the potential, what they could be if they really stuck to it. Then other times, other episodes, they sort of, they just did the generic office humor type stuff, Emily's trying to be helpful. Emily's really a ray of sunshine, and everybody else is like dour and selfish and everything. I mean, that stuff was probably like the generic stuff that you could find on other shows. But when they stuck to stuff like Alan Tudyk, he wanted to be the new Robin. Teddy was in love with you know the Green Flame, I think was her name or something. I can't even remember. There's still one episode I haven't seen that aired. I got to watch that one, I think. Of course, Adam West was supposed to be in the show, the legendary Adam West, and they didn't show that episode. Um, Disappointed in that. They should show the episodes that haven't been shown yet. And also, I used to watch. I stopped watching them way back, but Sleepy Hollow has finally been canceled. I just realized that. I thought that was canceled last season though, because if I remember correctly, last season the girl that plays Abby wanted to leave the show. I think there's like various stories going around. On the one hand, some people were saying she was difficult, and she was sort of let go. And on the other hand, some people were saying that she just wanted to leave the show for bigger and better things. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But after she left the show, I figured the show was over. If you watch Sleepy Hollow, please let me know. How did they continue on the show without Abby? I don't know. I stopped watching in the middle, I think, or was it the end of the second season when they made Katrina like bat crap crazy, and she was like turned full heel for like no apparent reason. And that's when I was like, no, you kind of just spoiled the whole backbone of the show used to be uh Katrina and how he was like so desperate to try to get back to her. And when you take that away and Katrina's not part of his end game, so to speak, you just lost pretty much the whole impetus of the show. I'm trying to remember now what is his name on the show. Ichabod, that's what it was. Crane, she used to call him. Abby used to call him. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched that show. It was a good show. The first 2 seasons, I liked it a lot. I watched it. I'm not really a horror guy, so there's a lot of horror stuff, a lot of horror imagery and stuff. I'm not crazy about that, but it was an interesting story. And like I said, the end game was for Crane to try to get back with Katrina. They brought her out of like the Phantom Zone or whatever it was, and then the show kind of unraveled quickly after that. But I have a feeling what happened was they just were trying to limp on to get to syndication numbers, and when they realized that the viewership was probably going down like crazy, they figured let's give it one more season to see if we can get to syndication, get syndication numbers, and then call it a day. So you will be seeing Sleepy Hollow probably on Hulu or something. I don't know how they do that. Okay, so if there is anybody watching, and I don't think there is anybody watching, you can leave me a comment here or question. Anything you want to know before we close shop for another week, for another Torch Live, Johnnie Torch Live, this week in comic book TV. We talked a little bit about WWE, talked a little bit about the shows that were on this week. And as I said, check out my latest issue of The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. I want to thank New England Comics for carrying The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon here in my hometown of Malden, Massachusetts. Thank you very much for carrying The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon. If you want to get an issue, you should check them out right away. New England Comics. Also, on my website, as I said before, you can get a autographed copy of Street of Dreams, the latest issue of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye. That deal is, limited time only. So if you want that, you would have to let me know very soon because I have only a few copies left now to autograph if you want them. So, with that in mind, also, as I said before, I am going to appear at the Mice Expo in October. I want to remind you of that. If you're going to be in the Cambridge area in Massachusetts, come October 22nd, you can see yours truly, and I'll autograph some comics for you and hopefully have some other goodies to pass along. So the message is getting out. Tell all your friends, tell all your enemies. The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, Private Eye, Street of Dreams, on sale now. And you can get it from Indie Planet. You can get it, as I said, New England Comics. And you can also get it from my website, a autographed copy, if you so desire. Okay, we've been going on for quite a while here. That was fun. So let me know in the comments how things are going if you enjoy the live shows. I'm going to get back to work, nose to the grindstone yet again, and see if I can get you that Torch News Roundup pretty soon. Because it is almost in the can, but still needs some work. We're going to be talking about on the Torch News Roundup the final Wonder Woman trailer. I'm going to take that one apart and let you know what I think about it. We also have the Blade Runner trailer for Blade Runner 2049. Have a few observations to make on that. And there was also a Spider-Man Homecoming clip slash trailer that we're going to look at, even though I don't know if that classifies as a trailer. It was more a clip, but we'll take a look at that as well. And we'll talk some more about television because there is some casting news. There are some uh, shows that have been spared the canceler's axe and the like. All right, so once again, this is Johnnie Torch reminding you keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.